It doesn't. The consumer demands now. They just want content. It doesn't have to be in a quality that is often produced by professional. Now we need them professional, but sometimes we cannot afford it. It's not that we do not want that. So fresh, so fresh, so fresh, so fresh.
Assalamualaikum, hello everyone, and a very good afternoon to everyone. Sorry to make you guys wait little bit of time. Um, thank you so much for being here, supports the event, and as of today, actually, okay, I'm gonna be honest, my English is not that perfect, so I'm gonna mix Malay and English. Okay, so my name is Shai. I'm the host for Kongsi Talk Show, where we create this talk show to discuss and to dig up some new ideas about mainly about creative media industry in Malaysia. So we have at I think right now around 36 episodes in YouTube channel is Kongsi Talk Show. Um, and the guest is from various kind of disciplinary, from photography, videography, um, creative writer, creative designer, architecture. We just want to discuss and share some new ideas so that people out there, they will basically get the clear picture. um this is the real deal, what happened in Malaysia. So some of the question may be a bit panas, some of the question to more like we share the ideas how to growth, and other than that we just chit chat. So for today, actually, it's a special episode of Concert Talk Show, and thank you so much to ICJ Geramm for inviting us. So this is Concert Talk Show, and whatever um been discussed in this session is 100% no censorship. There is no time to cut and record back. No, we're just gonna do one shot recording. So for today, kita ada dua tetamu istimewa. But this is the style yang Kongsi Talk Show bawa. Kita takkan bagi intro untuk our guest. So our guest, kita minta our guest bagi sedikit introduction about themselves. So for today, kita ada dua tetamu. First is Dato' Zainal dan Ravin. So maybe we can start off with Dato' Zainal dulu. Boleh bagi introduction sikit?
Thank you. My name is Zaino. I've been in journalism for now almost 40 years. That's it.
Ravin?
Hello, hi, I'm Ravin. Been with the Insider, now the defunct Insider, and now with the Malaysian Insight. I'm a self-taught journalist, so I grew along the way, and now today I'm a senior correspondent with the Malaysian Insight. So I've seen the Malaysian media landscape for the past 10 years, how it has evolved, and I would like to share more things that what I've experienced in this industry over the last 10 years. Yeah.
Okay, I think without further ado, we can start with Ravin. So Ravin, our topic today it's about what's happening in media industry, basically in Malaysia lah. Kita tak nak bual pasal negara lain, kita nak borak pasal what happening in media industry dalam Malaysia ni.
All right. What I can say is that presently, if we notice the media landscape in Malaysia, it has changed tremendously. From we have seen from Dato Zainul's era, which was purely traditional based, and now it has become more online platform. Everything is now in your fingertips. You can get things in your fingertips. So that's how speed works. That's how news has become. Those days we have to wait for something to be published, so it will be your news is next day, but now it is like immediately it's there. So that's how things has changed. So at this present era, what we see is that challenges aside, but there are a lot of reporters who are out there, photographers, coming from various media houses. They are doing a lot. They are putting their efforts to gain recognition for their media houses as well as for their media print or whatever it can be. But it is also being overtaken by this so-called social media journalists. So wherever we are publishing news in certain angle, we are publishing news in a platform or a website. These are being overtaken by certain social media uh, personalities, where they are also doing their part to share news. But it has become like more redundant, because people see these people who are handling social medias and stuff as a so-called journalist, whereas they don't fact check, they don't do much about it. So the false news can get out there, rather than the accurate news going out to the people. So the media landscape has changed tremendously on that platform, because everyone has access to internet these days. Anyone can put up news, anyone can share things. So that is on one angle. The other part is that on funding, wherever you come on funding, media is not free. Everyone says this media is not free. I would like to share something that personally I did for the Malaysian Insight, where I shared a conversation with my CEO. I told them that media cannot be free. So they had a platform, they had a paywall up front there, and the paywall costs 150 per year. And if you compute it, it will come to 40 cents a day, just 40 cents, which is cheaper than your nasi lemak. So that was my tagline, to advertise and say, you get your daily dose of news cheaper than your nasi lemak, because nasi lemak these days is 22 ringgit. But for 40 cents a day, for 24 hours, you get updated news, you get verified news, you get all these things. But how many people are there willing to pay this 40 cents a day for news? Every Malaysians locally, most of them, they are trying to get this all the access of news for free. Nobody wants to pay. I think it's in the Malaysian DNA that we want to get things for free. When Sun newspaper were offered for free, everyone runs to grab about it. Over here, yes, we can give them for free, but who are the advertisers coming to advertise with us? We are not getting advertisers like those days, where they are coming to media houses to say that, hey, you know what, we want to advertise with you, we want to do this. They are going to social media and they are looking at influencers these days. Oh, you promote these things and stuff. So the spending power has decreased to the media houses. People are not, even let it be government, even I think the present government said they have reduced their funding from 4 billion to 2 billion on media buys and all these things. So we are seeing that as years evolved, when we move forward, the spending power is decreasing. So that's like Malaysians. They expect things for free. They don't want to pay. But how is this free thing is going to keep media houses sustainable? Reporters move about. They go to assignments. They need to get paid. So a paywall 150 per year, just computing is in a simple math, 10,000 subscribers is just going to give you 1.5 million. That is probably an operational cost about 3 to 4 months. So I think the challenges media houses faces these days is a lot. It's just not about finance. It's not about that controlling the contents that we are putting out there. Besides social media users and stuff, so there are lots of challenges that we are facing. So technologically, we have advanced. There's lots of good things, but also there's certain setbacks for media houses and all this stuff. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Make it short and sweet. But based on your statements, I think I can ola one or two questions after this. But we need to hear some words. Yeah.
Okay, I think I'll just give you context. I started my career when there were still typewriters in newsroom. So that some of you do not know what a typewriter look like. But I think the function of the media, I think there is the media. Some of us in the newsroom are very elitist in nature. Previously, we tell you what to discuss tomorrow. We decide what you will talk about tomorrow. Long ago, huh? So over time, technology has taken over that you are no longer the person to tell people what to think. But a lot of journalists and editors still function that way. This is the news. I'm going to tell you, this is what's important for you to know. Okay, that's one. So fundamentally, there has not been a change in how the interaction between the media and the consumer. And yet the consumer have changed the way they consume content. So there is a expectation. You expect the readers to want to know this, but the consumer wants to know another thing. So if you are in business, if you are selling nasi lemak and everybody wants char kway teow, obviously your business model will not work. So having said that, we have to convince people to like nasi lemak because it's good for them. But what's very important here in terms of the business model of the media industry has changed fundamentally so much, and the media company is slow in recognizing it. Now, we started a small media outfit, and we found that very quickly that the consumption pattern of consumers are different from what you think they would want. So now the most popular platform for media is the 40-second, 50-second video. Donald Trump got elected using TikTok. So, and what does it say? New York Times write millions of articles, and did it reach the desired audience? So now, if we are in the media, we have to understand that we have to understand the consumption pattern of the audience. Then the business model will kick in. So if we insist on the audience to take what we serve them and expect the business to follow, it will not be. So I had I headed a new organization, a newspaper. We sell 700,000 newspapers a day. A day. That was not that long ago. I was telling His Excellency there, I used to have 8 newspapers delivered to my house every day. I have none now, and I don't miss it. I don't miss any of them. I have not watched the news on TV for so long, and I don't miss it. The reason why? Because the newspaper company, which I used to hate, the TV station are still producing content meant for 30, 20 years ago. If you don't meet the requirement of your audience, you will definitely fail. That's my I think. Yeah.
Okay, Ravin. Based on your experience, right? Do you think that bila first day you involved in this media industry and until now, which is walaupun you tak ada kerja tetap lagi kan, um, but you rasa kita cerita tentang kebebasan, apa you punya perasaan bila orang tanya macam media ni ada kebebasan ke? So based on your experience sendiri, daripada first day sampai sekarang you tengok macam mana? Adakah evolving ataupun macam tak ada apa ataupun dilupakan saja?
Okay, so freedom of media. So I will just share a short background. I do come from a family of media people. So my mom worked in newspaper times for 37 years. So uh, I got the liking for journalism after I followed her. So so I was in the office doing all these things. So back then also, I would there's one question. Okay. Those days, media houses, right, let it be the TVs or print publications, what are the news that are being published? Probably everything is controlled back then. So whatever you want to publish things, you have the figures, numbers, everything controlled by a certain organization up there, because they are paying you, they are doing stuff. And where do we get all this breaking news, all these things about graft and all these things that came about? It's all through alternative media. So people were looking for alternative media to get all these details. That's when all these online platforms, portals like Malaysia Kini, Insider, all came about. And then people were, going to these kind of portals to get all the news that is not being published on the traditional platform, like the papers, the print, or the TV. Okay, being there and witnessing how things change, I saw, because when I started working first. At first, it was with the Malaysian Insider. I saw a totally contrasting uh, news desk where in print probably you have things to say. Oh, my mom will share things to me by telling that, I got a call from so and so telling that this is the thing that you have to publish today. Will be your front page news. That will be probably from someone higher up. Whereas on online platform like Insider, we break news. We give people what they want. So probably nobody. I would take a bet and say that even the 1MDB expose wouldn't have been like told to the people if it wasn't for an online platform like us who are exposing things. Claire made things possible with Sarwar reports, and then we Insider, we faced a lot of backlash back in 2016 until we were like, you know uh, barred from, we had some censorship things in Malaysia where we weren't accessible locally. So back then nobody knew about VPN and stuff, so it was impossible for people to get access to Insider. So that were the challenges that we went on. Fast forward to 2024, changes where people wanted, changes people always told that, a new government, new things. Has anything changed? I question myself. You are still being controlled in a certain way where whatever the media perception that was told previously, the government now, that whoever told things that don't do this, us doing something similar to different portals to control them. We have seen that we I can be vocal. Malaysia now, what they are faced. They are faced like things like the oppressing in the way of like how they were barred from publishing certain news and stuff. So these things tend to happen. So freedom of things that we are writing, I would say that we have probably would have achieved a bit. It's not as bad as previously, but it's getting better. It would need more place, like the media council. It is not in sight currently. We need a media council to see, because we don't have anywhere to go about. And if the media council is there, at least we have somewhere to take things, move things about, talk about freedom of expression, of freedom of you know publishing things. Don't just try to oppress the journalists or the media houses for publishing something. I've had several backlashes in the the publication that I did, because certain people were not happy with the news. So I've like got calls saying that, hey, you have to change this, and these calls can come at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I would say that I didn't write anything wrong. It's exactly what you said. It's verbatim, word for word. But they would say that, oh, I was misquoted by these media houses. It's simple things to say. The most important thing is that they will say that I was misquoted by the media houses. I was no, I wasn't. I did not mean this. So there's lots of happening. So I would say that freedom is not there entirely, but it's a progress that in Malaysia we are still going up there.
But do you think that the level of progress tu masih terlalu lambat?
It's like a stunted growth. You see that it's like you want something, everyone said that the new government comes in, you are going to expect overnight. It's not going to happen overnight, because simply to say, I would put things, this is my personal opinion. Anyone who's coming in, they are going to do what the previous government did. They are going to have their own say, their own control and everything. I would take a challenge to go and criticize someone openly in the government. They are going to come back at you. They're not going to let things go easily. They're going to file a suit. They're going to do things if it's defamatory or what. But it's not going to happen overnight. Probably this government, they are doing, but it will take time. I would say that it is something that should have happened years back, but it is still not there. We have not reached that par yet. And for foreign countries, that's why our media rating is just going down and down. Freedom of media also is going down and down. We have seen that under the present government, it's not going anything better. So there's nothing to celebrate about. We are still backward. We are still, compared to other neighboring countries, we are still quite backwards. Yeah.
Alright, untuk Dato' Dano sendiri as a I would say that media company owner, right? Okay. Do you think that this kind of agenda yang orang ada so-called pegang akan orang kata apa macam jeopardize your principle as a media practitioner, because you are coming from the media practitioner sebelum ni, because bukan macam setengah orang yang terus dapat jadi CEO or owner of the company without knowing anything kan. So do you think that agenda seperti ini orang kata apa boleh jeopardize your principle as a media practitioner?
Agenda like how? Macam mana?
Yang orang pegang, maknanya kita tak boleh post ini, kita tak boleh post itu. So
Okay. Okay, media control. Okay, there is a very famous quote from the US. The free press is only owned by people who own the press. So, whether it's New York Times, whether Wall Street Journal, whether it's Malaysia Kini, whether Insider, the free press is only if you own the media. Every media organization is influenced by its own philosophy, its own agenda, its own, So it's okay. It's okay to have an agenda. It's okay to have a stand. It's okay to have opposing views. This is what the media needs. We need diversity. The more media with the more diverse opinion and stand, the better it is for the country. It's better for democracy. So don't despair. What you are doing is good. You will have opposition, but it's okay. There are other people doing another thing. You shouldn't criticize them also. So what I'm saying is that now we're talking about press freedom. Like I told you, I've been here for a long time. I would tell you right now, you might say your organization gets called up for something. But you go to social media, you go to TikTok, you go to Twitter, the opinion that you are not being able to put across is being put across by many, many more people out there. There is the amount of press freedom now, media freedom. If you look at media as a structured entity, editor, reporter, published, then you are looking at media from a very restricted point of view. If you look at media as a media in general, it is very, very open. You have podcasts, you have criticized. Have you been even called by the police? Okay. So what I'm saying is that the perception, the media has to get out of this shell of thinking that they are separate from society. You cannot tell people that you know things better than other people. This is the sense. This is what I say. The media is very elitist in that sense because we used to tell people what to think. Now, what you're selling may not be something that people want. The thing that you say you get criticized for, if you go to social media, you go to TikTok, you know how many commentaries on the king in TikTok over his take in your mobile? How many posting on X? There's no such thing as, it's everywhere. So if you look at media as just what we see is in the traditional sense, then we say, oh no, this is the world's going to end. But it's not. It is very, very open and vibrant. This is what I'm saying. You have to understand the media is not the public is not a function of the media is a function of the public, what public thinks. So if you think that what media is supposed to be is what you want it to be, then we have failed. You understand? So that's my philosophy. I am not saying that you're wrong. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I'm looking at it from an old guy who sees things from a different over the years. So yes, there are still laws in the country. There's still laws in France. There's still laws in the Netherlands. There's still laws in the US against certain things. There's still laws. If you defame someone, you can be sued. If you this thing exists. What we in the media has to figure out is how to go about circumventing law. That's what we did for the longest time. So I know it seems, but it's not. The media is so vibrant. Look at it from different point of view.
Thank you, Dr. Zainal. All right. We're back to Ravin. Okay, Ravin. What is your the most crucial assignments that you have been on to before this lah? The crucial ni kita nak tanya sikit tentang pengalaman. So the most crucial yang paling mungkin tak menyenangkan ataupun we need that yang tak menyenangkan tu.
That's something that is not easy for me, or
Yeah. Yang maybe you rasa macam tak sepatutnya aku buat story ni tapi aku kena buat.
Okay, so I would share something that is I'm very passionate, very driven, because I do not come from a journalistic background. So I did my engineering. So this I'm a self-taught journalist. So I say that. So I never got the privilege of having a buddy to go for assignments and say, "Hey, this is how you get things done." So I've observed how people are questioned. This is how I worked myself today to where I am. So whatever that happens to me, I've taken it positively. But something that an assignment that I've been was in 2018, where there was a boy from LaSalle Brickfields where there was a chair that was flung from the 17th floor and he died immediately. That something that is very close to me. It's not. I would not say that it's an assignment that I shouldn't be in, but it is something that invoked my feelings because that boy is from my school. Yeah. So, and until today, what is very sad part about that is that um, only I keep in touch with that story. Only I keep in touch with that family. There is no one is doing things for the family. The family was promised so many things from house, free house and everything. Until today, the family is still paying rental. I've tried to help from whatever possible way that I've done, and now the MP is helping, but there is no justice. The family, the killer is still out there. Nobody have found the killer. Years have passed. Police have just filed the case by telling that we can't seek evidence and everything. So I feel pity for the family because the mother is a single mother. She is not able to afford things. So whenever I call her and I speak to her, she has a needs, like to tell that my elder son is not working. I would not dismiss the part that the lawmakers were not helping. They did help by putting the son into school, but you are talking about someone who lives in PPR. Okay, and then you just don't find quick fixes with things. I had to speak with him, talk to him, but things were not helping. He wants to do something else. It's not something that you get fixed with. So there are a lot of things. So I feel that that one assignment was pretty attached to me, that I feel that there is no justice served, because until today there is no ending to the case. Yeah.
Okay, this message actually goes out to the people out there. I know dalam ni most of you guys are media practitioners ataupun memang berada dalam industri media. But this goes out to rakan-rakan dekat luar sana. So if you guys fikir like korang nak jadi journalist ataupun photojournalist whatsoever dalam media industri ni, tak kisah dekat negara mana pun. So boleh dengar sendiri daripada pengalaman Rabin macam mana dia overcome the assignments yang dia rasa macam sangat dekat dengan diri dia, dan macam mana dia tolong the societies juga daripada story dia. So kita as a media practitioner maybe bukanlah nak bash ke apa, but then this message goes out to orang kata apa, netizen punya media practitioner. Tak tahu nak panggil macam mana lah, but then kita dapat banyak complain because of netizen bagi tahu macam media tipu, media suka mensensasikan news walaupun benda tu kecil jadi besar. But then untuk orang-orang yang dekat luar sana yang orang biasa bukan media, you guys should actually belajar juga how to be a good media walaupun korang bukan media practitioner, which is get your fact right and then barulah produce benda tu you nak share dekat mana-mana pun kan. So media bukanlah sekadar kami ni bekerja sekadar untuk buat story, ambil gambar, shoot video, doing interviews, cover up benda-benda panas and all that. It's all about orang kata apa, empathy lah juga.
Just to add on that particular story, right? The family was looking for a lawyer. They asked numerous lawmakers for help. No one came forward with a lawyer to help. I finally, with my contacts, I brought a lawyer who was willing to do things for pro bono, and they filed a case actually in a court. They brought DBKL, they brought the housing ministry and all these things. But the court dismissed the case because it was more than 3 years. If it was something before someone has helped them, probably the thing would have stood in court. The mother received no compensation for the child's death. Yeah. And worst thing is that what I can't imagine is that the boy died right in front of the mother's eye. Yeah. And just imagine the mother, the sight that was seen, the mother was holding the boy's brains in her hands. So that was something unbearable for me. So I was there most of the time because communication wise, it was easy because they were a Tamil speaking family. So things were easy for me. And yeah, but the sad part is that there is no conclusion for the sad ending.
See, kita nak tanya from the point of view dari seorang media company owner. So dari pengalaman Dato' Zainul sendiri boleh tak share kata apa, this is the best assignment yang Dato' Zainul pernah dapat? I know it's long time ago, but maybe you can share a bit.
So sometimes sometimes things better remain unsaid, because sometimes as a media practitioner, sometimes we are privileged to a lot of things, and things are told to us in there. So we are not supposed to. I mean, there are many, because I used to be in touch with a lot of people, some very powerful from both sides of the aisles, and the conversation that we have sometimes are something not to be repeated outside lah. So, but that's I'm not saying that tapi there are many experiences lah. Some very sad like yours, some very make you angry. But I think all these things form you as a person, as a journalist lah. But I just want to talk about this is since we are talking about independence of journalism. I just want to talk about the business of the media. You see, the media as a business is no longer viable. It's not like last time. There are only very few media companies that are successful. The New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Economist. They are function based on subscription model, and their market is the whole world. Most media are not. So now, if you look at it in this country, in Malaysia, we have funds. The government give funding for filmmaking, to make film, fund for the arts, fund for sports. I'm not saying these are not important. These are very also important. But knowing that the industry is facing challenges, the media industry is no longer an economically viable industry, and knowing the importance of independent free media to the country, to democracy, shouldn't the government also look at allocating some money to sustain the media industry? If you can do it for film, for people making film, for people doing arts, which is the all important, and if you feel that the free media is important, or independent media is important, or vibrant media is important, I think the government should also look at how to avail some fund to the media. You see, in the US, I used to work in the US, in New York. So there is a very vibrant media city. But you see that the news operation is funded by all these programs, entertainment program. But over time, the news function is reduced because it is not profitable. So what happened is there is now some move to see whether the media could be funded as as not say charity but as a foundation. See what happened in Singapore. The Singapore Press, the Straits Times is now put under foundation because it's not profitable. So Singapore Press Holdings has buildings and whatever, then they use this money to fund, give to the foundation so that the newspaper can function. The Guardian is a foundation. It's not profitable. So as a business, I think if the government consider the media to be important, if the government consider the media to be essential for the development of the country, for the people, then the government should look into how to keep the media industry vibrant. So if you can get money for film, if you can give millions for badminton players to go for gold, maybe you can look into having a fund that media companies can tap into when they need, so that society is better served. This is my opinion.
But don't you think that bila dah ada involvement dari the government and giving some funds to the media company, so the agenda tu lebih kuat?
No, you see, because you are looking at it from a negative point of view. Let's look at the positive point of view. The media is vibrant. In the UK, you have the BBC. The BBC is funded by the government. Unlike the US, the BBC doesn't say, I endorse this as Prime Minister. It's independent. You see that if you see the coverage of the BBC and the CNN, or what, you see the differences. If you look at the idea that the government give money, then the government will control, we will never move forward. You must look at the idea the government give money, but we will put guardrails to make sure that the fund is given. See, when we approach at things, you shouldn't look at it from purely from negative point of view. Then you will never move. So if you feel that this is important enough, maybe the industry can get together and go and see the Prime Minister. Look, you know, we won't say all good things about you. We won't say all bad things about you, but we need to be there to make sure that this is very important. So uh, the media, Ravin and everything, they're professional. They make sure that they're not under the thumb of the government, but this is very important. So this is a survival of the industry.
So when we're talking about business lah, kan? So business is business, and we can see that media agency dalam Malaysia sendiri banyak yang dah tutup, and then tapi dengar juga cerita ada media company baru dibuka. So dari pandangan Datuk Zaidu sendiri kan, adakah orang kata apa, jalan kerja macam tu bagus ataupun we keep on continue company yang lama yang dah jatuh tu and bangunkan balik?
Sometimes bagus, you can revive the old one. But I think naturally, if you have a shop selling nasi ayam, tak laku, tutup, you can revive again. But it is good for the industry that new people come in and try to bring in new ideas, new perspective, new concept. It is very good. And it's also good for industry to have the old one remaining, because then you have a mix of the old and new. If all the industry if the industry is dominated by young companies, then you will lose some of the element of the wholesomeness of the industry lah. You need the lama punya and the new ones and the old ones to be together. So it is natural for old companies to close down. I was telling you, I used to work in New York City. When I was there, there were 9 newspapers serving the city, regional. Now there are 3, from 9 to 3. New York Times, Daily News, and New York Post. That's it. So, but it is natural. How many online media came about from that? Maybe 30, 40, but we don't realize because we only see the media in very segmented. You have to see the media as a whole. Huh? So you have to have old and a new. More new coming up, better, but preferably some old will remain. Unless,
Okay, ni tadi kita dah touch pun tentang the business of media industry dalam Malaysia basically lah. So from Ravin kita nak cerita tentang security. This might be, tak nak lah cakap dia jadi harsh, but then from your experience lah, duduk dalam media agency kena gam and then tutup and then revamp, sekarang dah jadi lebih lain lagi lah kan. So from your point of view kan, do you think that media practitioner dalam Malaysia ni memang tak ada security at all dalam career?
It's a pretty because you have answers for both end. Okay, they have certain sort of securities, but it comes to a point where who owns private medias? Okay, you those days back then, if certain companies were having issues or what, the government would just ask a GLC to just fund it. It was just easy as that. They will be like money making GLCs. Why don't you try to help them fund it or something? Then you get to run it. But nowadays you have private media owners because it's as simple as starting something. You just can start a website. Okay, I call it as a news portal. Okay, I have certain stuff. But who is regulating these ownerships? Who is doing background checks on the owners? Okay, anyone can start a media company. I'm currently we are experiencing that sort of issues where some of our staff have gone unpaid for like several months. The industry is harsh. The economic situation is not doing any good. For us, we see that U.S. currency is appreciating, Malaysia is doing good. That's has nothing to do with us because we are not funding our own pay. But who is managing these companies come into big questions. Are they being protected in a certain manner? Who is protecting them? Okay, because in my situation, I don't want to share about other people. I'm sharing my own situation. The funder who has not paid us is spending lavishly out there, is going about on the lavish holidays and everything, but citing medical reasons and stuff, and has not paid the stuff for several months. So people here are having difficulties. If it's 1 month, 2 months, it's still acceptable because you can do something to salvage and buy things stuff. But this has gone on for 4 5 months, and then there's certain people on their wish list where there's preference where they get from their paid from their personal pockets. So this is not favorable for journalists. So when it comes to question of security, there are media houses where they are secure financially, but they also need to do other stuff, like Dato Zainul mentioned. If we can't sell nasi lemak, we have to see other source. So media houses these days, they do a lot of things in other online platform like YouTube. They do video because they want to monetize it. But how much do you get? It's a very good idea of him telling that, I have a fund allocated for media companies where they can tap into. But the question is, who is going to monitor that fund? Media council? If the media council is there, we can probably speak, because there will be a diversity of people from different companies who are hitting that. Then probably they need to see it. But that is one way of moving forward. But here we have different companies. Yes, we can say certain groups are opening portals for political agenda. Certain companies, certain personalities are opening for their own reason. We are being said that journalism is for a cause. Yes, fine, but the cause is not going to pay our bills. We work for a reason. We work to get paid. But if we are not going to get paid, if it's going to be for a cause, nothing is going to help us. I just can't go to TNB and say that costs, and then it minus off my TNB bill. No, it's not going to work. So we have to come to a point where if someone is going to open up a media outlet or something, you have to do a vet check and then see who's the owners, what is their background, and everything. Now, I would share from my situation, statutory contributions, which are not being paid by my funder, but who is being harassed by the authorities, the workers, because our pay has been deducted, but the funder is going free. We have made reports to several organizations. Even one of our staff recently resigned, but in his resignation letter, he demanded for his uh, outstanding to be paid. And he even CC'd all the KWSP, LHD, and everyone. But it goes ignored. Nobody is going to have, say that, hey, let's look into this case. This person has not been paid. This is statutory contribution, which is governed. You are supposed to be doing all this. So I feel that moving forward, right, to have better security, it is better if the government could vet who is the owner, so that they can take ownership of that and say that if anything happens, we are going to come after you. So what is your target? 5 years. Do you have the fund for 5 years? If everything happens, they have to come and check, keep checking. Then I think it will make sense to move forward, because there are lots of people who are still pursuing their education in journalism. They wanting to be journalists and all. They come to these companies. What happens is that we had a staff who just newly joined, and then 3 months never get paid. So it's tough. So yeah, to have a better security, I think the government need to come up with a certain format like fundings, also to ensure who are the owners. They have to take ownership. Give the budget. What budget do you have? What are you working on? Things like this, but not to have control on what they publish and stuff.
From your opinion, as a otai lah, if let's say those ideas that you just shared dimakbulkan, dari pandangan Dato' Zainul sendiri, siapa sebenarnya secara frankly lah yang sepatutnya menjaga dana tu?
Funding, kalau kita ada funding, if you have the fund created for the media industry, I think the most important thing is to create a mechanism. So the mechanism will be in terms of identifying who are the media companies, who are the journalists, who are probably, so that the funding is, of course, once we have the commitment, then we work. It has to be a body that has, of course, if the government fund give the fund, there has to be a representation for the government to look at and also representation for the media. There has to be that, and probably an ombudsman or academician. So in a way, the structure is very important. It is not. We should not worry about how the fund is going to be distributed, but we have to now look into what's the objective of the fund. The objective of the fund is to ensure the viability of the industry. So, so now who do we identify as a media company? Who's, because again, Ravin said He wants to know who should be the one running. So then it comes to the question of, once you identify a person to be suitable to run a media company, then you are licensing the media. And that once you license the media, we are going back to 50 years ago when we licensed media. So that has the so what we need to figure out is a way. Businesses have rules and regulation that govern businesses. You have to pay salary, you have to pay this and that. So there are enough rules and regulation to look after companies. We shouldn't encourage the government. We shouldn't give the government any idea of trying to license a media company. We shouldn't. We've gone away from that. So what we should do is try to get the government to enforce existing rules and regulation on business owners. That's the thing. So the media is, while we think is special, but we shouldn't. When we are special, you have a special extra attention. We shouldn't let extra attention be. So what we need to do is to make sure that if there's a fund, how do we run it? That's very important. And how do we get it effective? So I can understand Ravin's concern about personal experiences, but we should look at the bigger picture, and we should not give the government the encouragement to start imposing its will on the industry. So that's very important. So that's for me, is that managing the fund, the industry and the government, and whatever we can come together and figure out how to go about doing it. That's very important.
So basically kita dah dengar pengalaman, ideas from both of them. Mostly Ravin cerita tentang pengalaman and dia punya pengalaman peribadi bekerja dari hari pertama dalam dunia media sampai until now. So Dato' Zainul, kita dapat dengar pandangan dari seorang as a business owner. So berlainan. I'm talking about, we are talking about economic dalam media industry. We are talking about the media freedom, and we are talking about the future of it. Security dia macam mana, adakah orang kata apa, macam Dato' Zainul tadi bagi tahu yang the more the merrier lah. So ada media-media baru, but then saya ada satu persoalan. Saya letakkan diri saya as a orang biasa yang tak tahu apa-apa. Saya tutup sekejap, saya punya minda ni dari bidang media. Kita perasan ada banyak 2-3 bulan ni lah, dalam tahun ni rasanya paling banyak sekali kejadian-kejadian di mana kita nampak media company tutup ataupun bertukar and restructure apa semua kan. As a media company owner atau Zainul, do you think that retrenchment, I know retrenchment ni penting because of nak scale down apa semua kan, but then apakah orang kata apa, as a media owner, media company owner, apakah macam idea dari seorang ni lah, macam mana nak membantu diorang ni pula yang dah kena retrench ni?
Okay, so kadang-kadang business realities, you set up your business, this is your plan, but your plan doesn't work out. So you have to try to figure out how to sustain the business or close the business or whatever. To sustain the business, sometimes you have to do downsizing. We at Big Boom Media, the owner of Scoop, we did restructuring, downsizing, but we try to do it the proper way. We go through the labor department. Benda tu is reality. It's not a question of trying to victimize people. It's a reality. The idea is that if we downsize, we be more effective, then maybe going forward we could be profitable and we could probably rehire people again. At the same time, what we're trying to do with our contacts is some of them, we ask them, pass your resume to us, then we pass it to other people. You see, at the end of the day, the industry has to look after itself. Because it's a very specialized industry, it has to look after itself because not many people probably wants a photographer. But how do we make sure that we get these people, some work later. So we use our contact. But the media, like any other businesses, is subject to normal business. You know, people close, people open, new people, and they have to pay salaries, they have to pay office rental, they have to, all these things are the same, kan? So it's not a question of, and especially a lot of media companies are small. They're small, they are very ni, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. So it is sad, but it's also positive because you still have new companies opening up. So that's the circle of life kind of thing, lah. You have existing business not doing well, but you have new business coming up, and it suggests that there is still opportunity and there's still room for new people to for the media industry to survive in Malaysia. There's still room. So it's tutup buka. So it's normal. But some like Kini been what 20 over years. So they survive and some don't. So it's normal. I would think so. It's normal in other business. So we should also look at it from that point of view. There's no guarantee in life. There's no, but the good ones will survive, and the rest will try to survive.
Okay, saya ada satu lagi persoalan lah. Uh, untuk ditujukan pada Dato' Zainul mostly lah kan saya tengok company-company media yang scaling down everything apa semua yang tutup terus apa semua. Kenapa visual department yang akan selalunya pergi dulu? Padahal visual tu yang paling penting tu untuk company media tu. Dan kenapa saya mempersoalkan ni because of saya macam pelik juga kan. Maybe saya bukan media company owner, so saya pun tak tahu kan. So saya bagi tahu ni as a macam saya terfikir kenapa company media yang memerlukan visual department tapi visual department tu yang ditutup dulu.
Okay, we have the same experience. We shut down our visual department because it's very practical. I spoke to the guys. Okay, you consume your content most time dekat mana? What platform you use?
X.
No, your phone, right? You use the phone. You see, the phone diminishes the need for quality visual. Not to say the visual is not important, but you look at the phone, the picture is small. It's a thumbnail thing. Dulu when we were newspapers, we go eight column across, big picture. It's not to say that visual is not important, but visual as a video is important. But video as a platform, as a media, people are creating video on their own. It doesn't. The consumer demands now. They just want content. It doesn't have to be in a quality that is often produced by professional. Now we need them professional, but sometimes we cannot afford it. It's not that we do not want that. You put up a video on TikTok, you take a video on your own, you go to the reporting on things, it gathers the same amount of traffic and reach. So the demands for quality photojournalist product is different. So maybe it's not in the daily news, but it probably in documentaries, in film. So for us, this is the realization. And for the people professional in the visual department, they also have to realize that they probably cannot work in a daily operation because the need is no longer there. But maybe they can work for documentaries, they can do long form content, they can do, So it is evolution, we have to adapt. It's not the question, oh, why do you go and after the visual department? It's not that. Because the quality because there's a picture of Anwar Ibrahim looks like Anwar Ibrahim, whoever takes the picture. There's no difference. So do I have to pay extra to get that picture? Or do I just subscribe to the wire service and get the same picture? So it's business. It has nothing to do with, so you get what I'm trying to say. So as as the media company have to adapt, the journalists have also to adapt. Their skills have to adapt to the platform and the consumer demand. So that's basically it, you know.
Thank you so much.
Nothing out of penalizing these people for being great photographers and videographers.
Thank you so much, Zainal,
Just adding on to what Dato Zainal
Okay.
said. I was told, when media was evolving, we were told that there won't be, for certain assignments we won't have photographers. So who is the photographer for the assignment? Ourselves. So journalists also have to like pick up their skills, pull their socks up, and do stuff. So whenever I go for an assignment, I will try to be different from the others. So what I will do is that I will record a video. So I will give to the video team so that they can produce a video for the video part. I will snap picture. I'll give to the subs to put up for the story, and then I'm writing the story. So I'm doing three things at once. So that's how you yes, you have to upskill yourself, but at the same point on, like what Dato Zainal said, photojournalists, maybe their skill is somewhere. They tell stories with their photos. There are lots of wonderful stories that has to be told through pictures, which even like for us, we won't be able to like put it into words. The photos will tell. It's a saying that the picture speaks 1,000 words. That is for a reason. So I don't think so. Even journalists, we can put up perfect words for the pictures. So I think if we can, journalists can upskill and do things. That is what my boss told me. Jabba told me that you are a young journalist. Go out there, get your handphone. Nowadays we have handphones which will take better pictures. You just have to snap something and then put it in HD format and submit it. Everything is up there. I think one person can do three. Just to correct on that side, in my team's downsizing, or what I think we have experienced also, the editorial team had the biggest number of, we were bloated. So we had to cut down from the editorial team and not from the visual team. So we have to see the needs rather than just the visual ends and stuff. Yes, there will be certain, because it will be redundant to have so many people doing the same thing. As Dr. Zainal said, we can pick up from the wires the same pictures and we pay for us minimal cost rather than paying staff salary. But it's purely business rather than victimizing someone when it comes. I think at least they did it in a proper way where they gave the retrenchment and stuff. Certain companies, they are not doing that. They are just like inappropriate sacking and stuff. Yeah.
So guys out there, yang menonton Kongsi Talk Show ni, so at least for today's session, korang dapat lah sedikit clear picture from the business side of it, from the orang kata apa, passionate side of it. So both of them dalam industri yang sama, but being in different situation dan juga tempat. So macam Dato' Zainal as a owner, Ravin as a worker. So both of them bagi rasanya terlalu banyak input untuk hari ni supaya korang dekat luar sana boleh faham, because of kita faham netizen, they keep on bashing, walaupun dapat cerita tu A, B, C, tapi dia punya cerita tu dah sampai Z. So apa yang Kongsi Talk Show cuba nak lakukan hari ni is mostly purely from our heart, so that we can share to people outside. Apakah orang kata apa, dunia sebenar media industri dalam Malaysia dan juga dekat luar. Basically rasanya almost the same semua tempat pun kan, dengan company downsizing. Kalau kita nak sembang tentang freedom of speech for the media pun rasanya macam Ravin cakap tadi, nampak sedikit progress slowly, but hopefully kita dapat apa yang kita nak kan. Pasal I think the reason why kenapa media harus dikeluarkan dari akta-akta, tak boleh cakap, kena gam ni semua, I think kena apply dah lama. Because of kita takkan terikat dengan mana-mana orang, terikat dengan mana-mana individu ataupun company. We just doing our thing for the news, dan kita nak bagi 100% truthfully information to the audience. But then kita tahu benda tu susah. Tak kisahlah tukar beberapa government pun, to think of yang kata apa, secara logiknya itu dah memang makanannya. So if you guys out there rasa berminat untuk masuk ke dalam dunia media ni, think about it, fikir 3-4 kali. Bukan nak menakutkan korang, tapi at least korang dapat clear picture apa yang korang kena face nanti bila korang dah ada dalam ni. So untuk orang kata apa, episod kali ni kita ada dua pendapat yang almost the same tapi dari sudut pandang yang lain. Kita dah sampai dekat penghujung kan. Sebelum kita nak tutup ni, saya nak tanya the last question for both of you lah. Despite of apa yang kita dah borakkan tadi, dah keluar sedikit idea, what is your, orang kata apa, harapan tentang media industri dalam Malaysia ni, Ravin?
I would say, when just now you mentioned that harapan, they can watch us before deciding, right? A lot of people made the assumption that, where there was a change of government in 2020, and then there was 2020, all these things were happening, right? A lot of them made the assumption that, wah, journalist yang tunggu dekat pintu gate Agung ni, dia orang dapat shock lah, dia orang dapat makan lah, dia orang dapat ni lah, dia orang dapat tu lah. But they don't know the actual struggle that we are there. We have to stay under the hot sun. When it rains, we have to be there. Personally, I work 27 hours covering the GE. So, it is a struggle. It's not easy. So if they want to come and, do things, they have to be, number one, passionate. Number two, yes, media house is evolving. Every media house closes and opens. But then I feel that it has to be, there are a lot of media houses like the mainstream medias, which has survived for a long time. Alternate medias like Kini has survived for a long time. I think there needs to be a strategic plan how to sustain media for a long term, because if not, it will be a diminishing business over time. Anyone can open up a YouTube channel and they can become a news agency. I can just sit down, have a green screen background, and then can read news, just petik from somewhere. I can just, people don't have to subscribe for a different platform. If I'm a paywall, if I'm going to do a paywall, I have to do something that is different from what Bernama is writing. I need to get a different angle. If I'm doing something similar to what other people are writing, then I'm no difference, and there is no need for the readers to subscribe to my news because they can get it elsewhere. So we, on one side, the reporters have to improve and look into things from a different perspective when they're writing news, and for media houses, they have to see how to sustain for a long term. And then government, when it comes to government, they have to see how to aid media houses. If not, if it's just going to be a diminishing business over time. Yeah.
From Dato' Zainul sendiri, apakah? Atau maybe Dato' Zainul boleh kita nak minta extra sikit pada Dato' Zainul lah. Harapan Dato' Zainul dan juga mungkin sedikit nasihat kepada orang-orang baru yang nak masuk ke dalam dunia media.
Okay. I think the internet is the greatest equalizer. Anybody can become a media owner. So in that sense, if you ask me, I would encourage everyone to become a media owner. The media shouldn't be the purview of the few that can afford. You started a podcast. You're not a media owner. Now you are a media owner. You own the platform. You own the content. Everybody should go out there and put out content. Then the media industry will be very vibrant. It shouldn't be in the hands of a few. The internet is the greatest equalizer, so we should use it. Everybody should go and open up your own YouTube channel, your own TikTok channel, your own Instagram, and communicate what you feel, what you need. Because at the end of the day, that's why I'm quite optimistic about the media industry. Not the traditional media industry, but the media as a way of getting people involved and informed. You have an accident, you got 20 people posting about the accident. So whomever put the best will get the traffic. So this is the best time to be in the media. Also in the worst time to be in the media because the business doesn't work. But in terms of getting out there your message, this is the best time. The internet is so great. It allows everybody to be involved. There's so many platforms, easy to enter, easy to use, and if you do well, you reach out to most number of people. So if you ask me, as someone who's been there in the industry for so long, I think there's never been a better time to be in the media. As a business, not so much. But in terms of being a practitioner, this is one of the better time.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We want to wish both of you best of luck. And hopefully korang masih berada lagi dalam industri sampai selagi hayat lah kan. As of for Kongsi Talk Show, we are so happy to be here. Kita buat the simple setup for today. Itu pun drag time sikit, but then everything was all good, alhamdulillah. And again, thank you so much to the organizers, Geramm and CIJ, asyik salah aje. And then kepada rakan-rakan yang datang hari ni, luangkan masa. InsyaAllah episod ni akan keluar nanti di laman YouTube, but then kita akan announce, tak tahu cepat atau lambat. So for you guys out there yang masih belum menonton Kongsi Talk Show, boleh lari ke laman YouTube kami, iaitu youtube.com/Kongsi Talk Show. Kita ada Facebook juga, handle yang sama, Kongsi Talk Show. Yang lain tak ada, kita handle 2 tu je, tak cukup tangan. So guys, thank you so much for today, for having us today, and thank you so much to Dato' Zainal, Rabin. Really hope that apa yang kita share hari ini dapat memberi sedikit manfaat kepada rakan-rakan kat luar sana. Dan seperti biasa, tagline untuk Kongsi Talk Show dekat luar sana, kalau korang rasa panas dengan apa-apa statement yang keluar untuk setiap episod, korang punya pasal lah. So insyaAllah kita akan jumpa lagi di episod yang akan datang, yang seterusnya dalam Kongsi Talk Show. Assalamualaikum.
So fresh, so fresh, so fresh.